Yeah, because that's what a
Um,
parent does. A parent takes their heart out, replaces it with their children. That's, I
mhm.
mean, this is a love story to parenting,
Yeah.
really what it is. And it doesn't shy away from the difficulties of it either. Hello and welcome to the Brothers Random Show. My name is Travis,
And I'm Michael.
and we are two ordinary brothers discussing extraordinary ideas and some random stuff. Michael, why are we here?
Today we are talking about a nice film that just came out. Not done by Disney, but DreamWorks came out with The Wild Robot.
Do you need assistance?
Want you to see, how you look to me.
I do not have the programming to be a mother.
Birds of a feather, we should stick together.
They all need to eat, but yours needs to swim and fly.
He's a runt. His chances aren't super good.
I will protect him.
Find that inside you. You should work on that.
And it was fun and it was enjoyable. And we want to talk about it.
The Wild Robot stars the voice acting talents of Lupita Nyong'o. You will recognize her as 10 Years a Slave. She was in the most recent Quiet Place. Pedro Pascal plays the fox named Fink.
Which is
and,
everywhere.
and he's
Pedro,
everywhere now.
He's just been in everything.
Yeah. It stars Kit Connor and Bill Nye, to just name a few. This movie is directed by Chris Sanders of Lilo and Stitch fame. I think he worked on How to Train Your Dragon. The story, the basic story, and this is from IMDb, is after a shipwreck, an intelligent robot called Roz is stranded on an uninhabited island. To survive the harsh environment, Roz bonds with the island's animals and cares for an orphan baby goose. Yeah, the film is not Disney, and that's like the big thing. And it's got a style of animation that is kind of it's supposed to look like brush strokes almost.
Mm,
And it's so beautifully rendered. And this is something I think what Disney was trying to do with Wish and
mm,
failed because
mhm.
it looks terrible.
Yeah.
The Wish, I haven't watched all of it. I've seen clips of it. It does not look as gorgeous as this movie. This movie looks absolutely gorgeous.
Some of the shots that they have of nature. This is, I mean, it's kind of an ode to nature throughout this film. And
Yes.
it is just kind of a delight.
Yes.
Uh
I really hope this movie does well in the theater because that means that DreamWorks will do more of these, original stories.
yeah.
I can't say that it's like a completely original story because I mean we've seen nature movies where people like have to fight nature. The Gray with
Mm.
Liam Nielsen is a great one. Anybody who's interested can go check that out. But this is for kids, and we didn't see anything objectable in it, which is what Disney's been kind of pumping into their movies as of late. I mean, you and I've talked about it before, but
It was a beautiful family story.
yes,
Like, and that was the thing is like they all came from these really weird backgrounds, but they all kind of found each other
yeah.
and became a family. And I think that was the point. Is
Well,
just that,
and it didn't shy away from the brutality of nature.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, they have these moments. Like one of the things that's kind of irritating about kids' movies is that they give this kind of uh pat look at nature because it's not a realistic look at nature. Like
Mhm.
if you watch Grizzly Man, a brutal film about a guy who's obsessed with bears. um, you realize that nature is not kind.
Mm.
And this movie doesn't really shy away from it. At the very beginning, all the animals are kind of um, at each other, like nature intended. You know, they're on the food chain. They're
Yeah, they're hunting each
they're
other.
hunting each other,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what nature does.
Hmm.
What's it's so unique about this movie is that it kind of it has these metaphors in it for our own society, I believe, you know, for parents. I mean, the fox, Fink the fox, he's kind of like the dad. He like begrudgingly goes into raising this duckling or this gosling. I guess that's the
Yeah.
word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he reluctantly goes into this, and he's, you know, kind of like waiting. It's very interesting, the dynamic, because he keeps talking about eating the duckling even though he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So like he represents the father figure, the robot represents the mother figure, and then the animals of this forest kind of represent society in general. And I really found that to be a wonderful little metaphor for the majority of the film.
Hmm.
I gotta say, before we move on, that one of the ingenious parts of this movie is she takes time to learn the language of the animals.
Hmm.
So she's a intelligent robot that can learn things, and it's so interesting how that plays out. They do a montage of her just sitting there analyzing the speech of the animals, and it's
Hmm.
so interesting. And then after probably like a year or something like that, she knows how to talk to all of them. And it's such an ingenious way to explain this probably non-reality, but it
Yeah.
could possibly be
Yeah.
reality. It's such a great way to do that.
And I mean, as you watch the film, you start to see that this mother figure kind of embraces this the society and convinces the society to stop fighting. And then they stop fighting, and then they fight together against a common foe. And and throughout that brings its own kind of fun
Mhm.
and adventure in there. And to be honest, I thought that I was going to have a critique that this film was too long, but my kids sat through the whole thing. They
Yes.
just sat and they gobbled it up all the way through.
And
And
everybody got teary-eyed.
yep.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
the music in this is pretty spectacular. They have some really great crescendo moments where the Gosling is flying. What's his name? Bright Bill is
Yeah.
flying, and he finally flies, and there's all these great little, you know, emotional beats that had everybody kind of in sniffles, or they got a little dusty, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's a great family film. Do you want to do spoilers?
Sure. Yeah, we can get into spoilers. Yeah. My teary eye moment was when the owner of the robot comes back to get the robot, and all of the animals fight against this robot ship that's
Mm-hmm.
come to get Roz, which is the robot. And there's a moment where the robot is falling with Bright Bill, who has a broken wing and won't be able to survive the fall. And but she takes basically she takes her heart out and
Mm-hmm.
puts him in to protect him.
It's just such a metaphor
And
for motherhood. It's
it
so interesting.
I just lost it.
Yeah,
I
at that point
couldn't.
you're just like
I just
in, yeah.
thought it was so beautiful, and it was very sentimental but metaphorical. And
Yeah, because that's what a
um
parent does. A parent takes their heart out, replaces it with their children. That's,
mhm.
I mean, this is a love story to parenting.
Yeah,
Really what it is.
I
It's a
would
love
agree.
story to parenting. It's It's because, and it doesn't shy away from the difficulties of it either. There's so many great moments where you're just sitting there. She's like, she says something along the lines of, yeah, this was necessary and you didn't die, and that's
Yeah.
so, and my thought is like, yeah, that's pretty much parenting is. I mean, we're just sitting there trying not to let our children actually die in the
Yeah.
process of
Of
becoming a
learning,
human
of
being.
like getting
Yeah.
out on their own
Yeah, getting out
and
on their
and
own.
yeah, well, he's like out there trying to swim and she's just like, oh, it was satisfactory. You learned and you did not die. It's like,
You learned and you
so
did not die. I was fully expecting the robot to die at the end. I was fully expecting them to just end with it dead, because that's kind of what parenting, like,
yeah.
after the children leave the house, it's like, what other purposes do you have, really?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
when it comes down to it. Like, and hopefully you have like a good, I don't know, career to kind of keep you going and that kind of thing.
Social network,
Social
what
network,
have
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was one thing that I didn't think they followed through on, which was she was leaking some kind of
Fluid.
fluid or
Yeah.
something, and they pointed to it, and this might have been in editing that it got cut, but they never followed through on that. And I thought it was kind of odd that they didn't follow through on that leaking.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. It's
um
kind of a, because it didn't, obviously it because she loses her leg at some point and
yeah.
they have to replace it with like a stump.
Oh, and that was
Um,
sweet. That was a beautiful
yeah,
moment,
it's a
I
beautiful
thought,
moment.
where
Yeah,
the beaver, who's
the
kind of this curmudgeon, just
he's a surly beaver that nobody
yeah,
likes,
and
and
everybody kind of makes fun of him a little bit and stuff, but
he shows up with
he
a
shows
wooden
up
leg.
with her leg and he's just like, here, you
Here.
need this. He made a leg out of wood,
Yeah.
and
There's
it was kind of a sweet, yeah, moment.
it's such a creative film, because it's almost like, I love films that use a small premise and then throw everything that you could possibly think or imagine at that. Like
Mhm.
like like Castaway with Tom Hanks. Like, every time in that movie that you think, hey, it can't possibly get worse, or what's next in this adventure, they throw this at this character. And this is kind of what that reminded me of, is because there were so many moments where they just came up with really brilliant ways to convey that there's more for this character to go through. Like at the beginning where she's just like kind of going through the forest, and she keeps having these moments of like, something hits her, something damages something else, and she's falling around and she's just getting dinged up, and it's so interesting to watch what they throw at the character. What else can life throw at a parent,
Mhm.
you know?
So it looks like the budget was 78 million, and so I mean a 38 million-dollar box office,
Not bad. I mean, it
and
probably
we're still in the weekend technically,
yeah,
so
as of
it
this
could
recording. It could, the budget
be
could
more than
go
that.
up. I mean, in comparison, I like, the rumor is that Disney's Wish had $200 million budget and it made $255 million.
Mm.
Not good.
Yeah.
So this is actually, for an animated film, this is a pretty low budget. It's if that's accurate.
Yeah.
These numbers can always be skewed based on the fact that studios usually don't like it releasing how much their movies made or cost.
But hopefully the word gets out and
Yeah, I
more people
think
go and see this.
it's beginning. The reviews have been stellar. Like, people are
Yeah.
just loving this movie. So as people talk about it, I think people will go to it. It is an emotional movie. It has those moments with because you're dealing with, parents are seeing the metaphor in this. Kids are just seeing the animals and stuff like that. And kids love animals. So this is kind of what is so
Yeah.
great about the movie, is because it kind of appeals to all quadrants,
Mm-hmm.
and but I mean, for me, I I enjoyed the hell out of it. There's a couple of jokes that landed really well. There's a scene where she's building a house, and the Gosling really wants to help out,
Yeah.
uh, and she's like, this is going to take too long if you help. And then there's still there's and they keep cutting to her holding him up, putting a little twig
A
on the
little
house,
twig on
another little twig,
house
and then another
because he
little
wants to
twig.
help.
Yeah, because he
It's
wants
like,
to help. And it's just so true. It's like that is parenting in a nutshell, because you're sitting there, you've got a project, you're trying to get it done, and this little kid comes in and it's like, hey, can I help dad? And it's like, oh, and it takes like three
and then it
times
takes
as long.
longer.
But the thing is that's how they learn to be
Yeah.
resilient.
Mm.
There's a goose that comes into the movie about 3/4 through into the movie. That's that's like a wise sage, played by the great Bill Nye. He tells the robot to get him to be.
It's
That's
about building
something.
his stamina
Yeah,
because
about building his
they're
stamina
prepping to go to fly
for the winter, fly away for the
fly
winter.
south for the winter, and he needs to build his stamina. And so he's like, you've got to be tough on him. You've got to be push
Yeah,
him
push
so
him.
that he'll be able to go with us.
And it's so great because it's really what raising children is all about. It's just you've got to push them into a direction that is against your nature to let them do. So your nature is to protect them, and they need protecting. That's why the 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 period of time from baby to adulthood is so long. I've got when my first kid is graduating this year. I'm just looking at her and how great she is, and how like she's kind of learning these new things in life, like how to change a tire. And everybody thinks bad parenting is, not protecting them forever. Bad parenting is protecting them too much.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
need to get out into the world, and they need to learn things on their own. And it's a really fine line. It's hard as parents, because different for every child. It's different for every parent. It's different for people are different in that sense. And that's really, this film kind of makes you think about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at what point do you push them out into the world and let them fall on their face, or at what point do you hold them up?
And allowing them to fly,
Yeah.
the metaphor
Yeah.
being poignant in this film.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's the artistic style in this is so great. It's kind of got a brush stroke look to it. If you were to paint animation,
Mm-hmm.
that's the best way I can put it. But in comparison to what Disney's doing, this succeeds on so many levels. And it feels very much like Disney used to be on top for so long. It feels like this movie is, or and many movies like the Illumination films, Super Mario Brothers, we reviewed it years ago. Um, these movies are doing better Disney than Disney. Disney
Yeah.
used to be the go-to. Pixar used to be the go-to. I
Right.
mean, we did see Inside Out 2 come out this year. It was a great movie too. I
Mhm.
thoroughly enjoyed it. But all of Pixar's movies for the last several years leading up to that weren't good.
Mhm.
They're doing Disney better than Disney,
Yeah.
because 10 years ago this would have been a Disney film. This would have been a Disney film, and they would have made a bundle of money off of it. So
Yeah. It's fun. Go take your kids to it.
it's a good movie. Check us out on social media, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just look for The Sword in the Skull.
Like, share, and subscribe. Comment below.
Yeah, if you went and saw it, tell us how much you liked it. It's it's a fun film. You know, I wouldn't mind even seeing it again. The visuals are worth going to look at it again. In the meantime, keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, learn more. We'll see you, brother.
See ya.
Activating learning mode. Do you need assistance?